How you doing? My name is Cleatus, and I want to tell you a story. Now, this happened at the time I was still a teenager. This happened in the 70s, and it happened in the state capital of Mississippi, Jackson. Yeah, and it's about this guy named Jimmy Henderson. He was what we consider a lunatic. Yeah, growing up, he was very violent. He's like what people would call really poor white trash, hillbillies type of person. Yeah. I mean, he had an old crazy ass father, pathetic looking mother. He had some siblings. There's a bunch of them, little rugrats. But he tried to stay to himself, but he couldn't really stay to himself because kids are really tormentors. And they teased him something serious. Calling him hillbilly and inbred. And he was like, you made love to your mama and all this good stuff. So he was always fighting, always fighting. But the one thing that he knew how to do is when the numbers are against him, he knew how to improvise. Now, take for instance, one time it was like 4 kids after school was about to, maybe beat him up. But he see that he was outnumbered, so he looked in his pocket and he had a razor blade. He had a couple of razor blades and he put them between his fingers. So when the kids started to advance on him, he started cutting and dicing. And the kids had all these little cuts and scrapes on them. Huh? They ran away like little bitches. And that's started the legend of Jimmy Henderson, certified lunatic. Now, he worked after high school. He worked at this garage. And I heard this story. This one kind of cracked me up. He was good at his, working on cars and whatnot. And there was this guy came in, accused him of messing his car up when he brought it in. Jimmy was like defending himself, like, look, I don't know what you're talking about. Your car was a piece of shit when you brought it in. That made the man mad as hell. And then he just tried to went off and try to cold cock Jimmy, what was a bad idea. You got a crazy ass man with a fucking ill temper, and you gonna try to throw a punch at him? Well, Jimmy didn't like that or whatsoever. He had a wrench in his hand, and he cold cocked that asshole upside the head, knocked him out. And he had to do a bit of time doing that one. Yeah, he spent a few days in jail. And even in jail, he was a rabble rouser. He didn't take no shit from no one. And he just made odds and ends doing jobs here and there. Maybe he's like a maintenance man in the sorts. And so he worked at the college over there. And on the college, he saw a lot of young, pretty things walking by. They didn't really think too much of him, but he was lusted at one particular girl. Her name was Trisha Campbell. Yeah, she was a fine little thing. Maybe she was mixed, who knows? But he had an eye for her, and he wanted her really bad. So sometimes he'll go to those college mixers. He'll get real dressed up and hang out with them. He'll try to blend in as best he could, but everybody know he works at the campus. He don't go there. He just worked there. So it was one particular mixer. Um, he went up to Trisha and was like, "How you doing? My name's Jimmy. What you doing later on tonight?" And Trisha looked at him like he was crazy. Said, "I don't know you. Why are you talking to me?" "Well, I'm just saying, you pretty little thing, I just want to talk to you." She wasn't having it. Now, one little thing about Jimmy, being a little lunatic and all, he doesn't like rejection. He can't stand being rejected by somebody acting all high and mighty. Oh, he don't like that at all. So after the party was through, Trisha was going home by herself. And Jimmy decided to follow her. Yeah. So he went up behind her, maybe a block away, found out where she lived at, and he waited. He had to smoke a cigarette to calm himself down a little bit, but he waited. And she's in her apartment. So eventually he went upstairs and he knocked on the door. And she's like, "Who is it?" "Baby, it's me, Jimmy. Can you open the door? I want to talk to you. We met at the party." And she was like, "I don't know you. Leave me alone." Well, upon hearing that, Jimmy just got irate and kicked the door in. And she's screaming and hollering. And she was like, "Baby, I just want to talk to you. Why are you trying to treat me like this? I'm not no piece of dirt." And she's yelling at him to get out. Lunatic fringe came out. And Jimmy went upside her head and knocked her unconscious. And he kind of wondered what the fuck he just did. And she tried to stir, crying and whatnot. So he went on top of her and choked her. And she's still struggling, trying to breathe and everything. And he's seeing a laptop on the dining room table. He took the laptop and smashed her face with it over and over and over again. Lunatic was out in full force, and he was wondering what he got to do. So he decides to slice her throat so she can't speak whatsoever. But he got a butcher's knife from the kitchen, and also he saw a cleaver. So he slit her throat, and he also carved her up. And he's all bloody and everything, looking for some trash bags. You see the lawn bags. He got the lawn bags, and he put all the body parts in the lawn bag. Now he's all bloody and everything. He's wondering what the hell's going to happen. They took the lawn bag filled with the body parts and put it in the dumpster. Now, the only thing is, the neighbor up that's downstairs heard all the racket, called the police, and saw Jimmy leaving the complex. So eventually, Jimmy was arrested for the murder of Trisha Campbell. But eventually, they tried to figure out, was he crazy? So they had a psychiatrist come and interview him, and he's telling his story. But it turns out that psychiatrist was Trisha's older brother. They had different names because they had different fathers. And the brother wanted revenge, and he snuck in a gun into the interviewing room with a silencer, and he shot Jimmy dead. Yeah. So the doctor snuck out, and he drove away. never be heard from again. And that, my dear children, is the legend of Jimmy Henderson, lunatic. Thank you for letting me tell this story. You have a great day and take care of yourselves. Bye now.